and the Brooklyn High School of the Arts Vocal Choir, directed by Avid Williams.
We did something that may not have ever been read about. Some people may never know about us, but we experienced the making of music, but just we experienced the consummation of real love. Like, I'm not married, I have no significant other or anything like that. I don't know if I'll ever experience love the way I experienced with HSA.
Hi, I'm Obi, real name Obadiah.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, but I am Liz.
Hi, my name is Quanti Ruffin, and I graduated in the year 2009 from the High School of the Arts.
Hi guys, my name is Malika Estelle. I'm 22 years old, singer-songwriter, and a student. I attend Brooklyn College, and I'm one of Mr. Williams' former student. I graduated in 2011.
Hey y'all, Cynthia, class of 2012.
Sakara from 2011, the best soprano.
Right.
So I began singing at the age of 3, 4 in church. Pretty, if you will, typical humble beginnings. And then after a while, I was at a school, Hans Christian Andersen, PS 144. And an organization came to the school by the name of the Harlem Boys Choir. They came to audition. I had no idea what it was. And one day my mom took me to the classes or whatever. And so before I knew it, I'm in this group and we're singing all the time. I mean, Harlem Boys Choir, with the good, bad, and the ugly, provided such a foundation for most, if not all, of the children there. During my time at Queens College, I went to Germany. I got a fellowship to study at the Goethe Institute in Berlin, Germany. I stayed there for 2 Monate, which is 2 months. And so I came back to New York, completed a second degree, first Master of Music and Vocal Performance at Brooklyn College, and that took me about 4 years. It could have easily taken 2, but at the time I was being quite the artist.
I remember when he first came in, he said to all of us, "My name is Diva spelled backwards." Okay? Everybody remembers that. Can't nobody tell me they remember that? He told everybody that story, and that he was a diva.
My experience before Williams came was actually, it was really horrible, to be honest with you. I was giving up on vocal, giving up on BHSA.
A joke, like, that class, well, it was my freshman year at high school, and it was so jokey. Like, we were always laughing, playing around. Like, as far as that level of professionalism, I definitely didn't experience that.
It was horrible. I'm not going to talk about the individual that we had as a vocal teacher, but it was very disorganized. The pieces did not do anything for us as a whole. We weren't enriched on music theory. We didn't perform to the caliber of anything, let less, what happened after.
Now see, when I came in, it was the complete opposite, because we turned up every day. Like, we didn't have a teacher, so we was doing concerts, people was in there dancing, people was in their own little corners playing games, and then it's just like, when Mr. Williams came, it was just like complete get to work. Everybody. Okay, so you're gonna sing right now? Oh, okay, you're an alto, go sit over there. See your assigned seat. And then it's just like the next day we came in and everybody had a song to sing. Like, yeah, okay, so go stand there and you're gonna sing Whitney Houston. Go. No, sing.
I walk into a room. I'll never forget, I saw an eaten apple. So someone has eaten off an apple and it was left in the chair. And then I figured I just simply went to the apple, threw it away. And in my head I said, okay, I'm gonna really make this work. I did never in my wildest of dreams thought that it would be a calling. It went from a job, because again, I'm young, trying to take care of my grandmother, trying to fix our house, trying to help after her. So I need a job.
When we selected Mr. Williams, why we selected Mr. Williams, basically was he did have on his resume that he worked at the Boys Choir of Harlem. I think that's very important because he did a lot of private coaching and voice instruction. He could sing beautifully himself. He was very interested and dedicated and wanting to do this work with children. Also, I love the fact that he was an African-American male, a wonderful role model. Maybe get more boys into the choir. It's wonderful to have all the females, but it's good to have a good mix. But I think it's very important for students to have people who come from the same place they come from in a positive role model status. And he had been, a child. He trained extensively in high school around vocal training as well as the college experience. So I thought he could be a good role model as well as a good teacher. And he did sing beautifully, and it was so embedded in the work of vocal training that we really thought, myself and Mr. Viciano, who also helped me pick Mr. Williams, it would be very, very a good experience.
My comparison between Mr. Williams' first day at BHSA compared to him being there a few months in, I thought he was going to be, like he said, a diva. I don't want to say the other word, but kind of like, nagging and annoying and mean and nasty. But towards, throughout the semesters, he showed compassion to some. Some he showed tough love. Some he didn't show anything because they was just there just to be there because they had to be there. But hey, that was on them. But I was the one he gave tough love and compassion to.
I just know that I had to warm up to him. He came in kind of like forceful and, aggressive. But it didn't really matter to me. I just really wanted a teacher. We kept getting different substitute teachers that was running in and running out. So for us to have somebody that was actually there to stay, I had no choice but to open up after a while.
After a couple months, I feel like I was still trying to find my place in that vocal class. I feel like I saw the favorites. I knew he had his favorites as far as favorite voices. I personally didn't think I was a favorite voice as yet. Like, I feel like I really had to work to that point. So yeah, it was just me and him. It was him and us, yeah. We definitely, I don't think the bond came right away, but I feel like we had to work to that.
It's so funny. Me and him had a very, very hard time getting to know each other. We were very combative. I was very nasty. I gave him all the attitude, but he whipped me into shape because he failed me. He failed me the first semester that he was there. And for me, that was very eye-opening because I knew, in regards to my talent, I was good. It was nothing that was shading me from that. But he had to teach me a lesson and let me know that he was the boss. And at the time, I warmed up to him. It took a while, but now he's my bestie, and he still calls me bestie to this day. And I'm glad I'm actually enlightened with the relationship that we built over that little course of time because we grew to be a tight-knit family. He was like an uncle more than a teacher.
The opportunities begot opportunities. I think people, as I tell students all the time, the gimmick is being talented, not anything other than that, right? And so when people were able to see, wow, they look professional, they look together. He has young men in tuxedos. Well, I already knew those type of bullet points, those type of things will be gotten. Other colleagues in the business, Carnegie Hall, and Fisher Hall, and MoMA, Museum of Modern Art, and Albany. I mean, all these opportunities where people say, well, my God, you have to come back. We have to do it again, and so they would talk, colleagues of mine would call and say, can you bring your choir here? There were times where I would say no. and I mean, I all to be Hollywood. It's just I wanted to. It wasn't solely my program. So we were working under the auspices of the Department of Education in New York City, right? So there's a limit, right? But with the support of the parents, I mean, I tried my best to do as much as I could, because I knew what it meant to the children. I knew what it meant to their parents. I would see your faces, the face. It's like you knew, not that we're the bomb or we're the best. It's just that, we're not a statistic, and we're not on the news, and, we're not flunking out, and we are doing something positive, and we want to do it. So, I mean, the support was just, it's almost like you read about this stuff in, these Coach Carter stories and stuff. I never knew that I would, you're right, you just never know. It's like only happy endings are in the movie, right?
I thought those concerts were far better sometimes than some of them we have now. Now, or they're a little more docile. I kind of enjoyed the outpouring of emotions from I'll say the fans and the families. So they were great, and I really missed them a little bit because the choir was larger. Some of the voices were more experienced or maybe just better. I mean, it ebbs and flows in high school. You get very talented kids, sometimes marginally talented kids, but the group in particular were very, very talented and very exuberant in their singing. It was very nice. I enjoyed it.
Mr. Williams is anointed to do what he do. He's not talented, he's anointed. He's anointed to deal with kids that don't really know what to do with their talent. He's like, the person turning a rock into a diamond.
Right.
And dusting it off and putting us in the window, for show and making sure that we are being seen and heard. And not just only in,
And
regular songs.
Yeah.
Every concert served as a reason for me to continue to do my part as well as to forget me, right? And what do I mean? I began the job with a guy who needed a gig. And soon thereafter it became, it's not about me. And so long as I had coffee to get there and back, I didn't need money. Now, am I glad I got a salary? Well, of course, but in the same breath, the money was just simply a symbol of the token of love. It became a family. It became a hub where we all shared, Many, like I said, my grandmother raised me, so I knew what it's like to be raised by a grandparent. Did not know your mom or dad. My mother died when I was 6 years old, and I would share that with the kids. So I knew that intrinsic feeling. There were children who had estranged parents. There were children who were homeless. There were children who were in shelters. There were so many things that the children didn't know, but I knew. And so that's why it was like my honor to be there.
When I found out that Mr. Williams was fired from BHSA, I was definitely shocked. I was definitely shocked because I just felt like, I just thought about how I felt for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade of being in his vocal class, and I felt bad for the future vocalists because they wouldn't have what I had in the vocal program. That's what I thought about. I was like, damn, so where's the vocal program how is the vocal program gonna be? Who's gonna teach the future vocalists of BHSA? That was like my first thought because I was like, I didn't think the vocal program was gonna be as amazing as it was when Mr. Williams was there.
When I found out that Avid was let go from the BHA, I was really disappointed for him, but it sounded like from all the negative feedback that he was getting over the years, that I couldn't be completely shocked. My shock was more about this being a public school and that it usually takes a lot to get rid of a teacher. And so I felt like there was something shady happening in the background to support this, because you could have, there have been teachers that were videotaped, sleeping while supposed to be teaching that still have jobs.
We needed some changes. The Department of Ed constantly changes. And since 2002, there's been millions of changes. And one of the challenges that the Department of Education has put on all schools, particularly this school, is the college and career readiness piece. We were charged with increasing the size of the school. When I came here, we only had 400 children. Now we have 970. So we had to attract additional students. We had to increase the academic rigor across the boards, especially in the arts, because the chancellors have been very adamant that the arts are more than just having a good time, although we do have a fantastic time. It has to really prepare students for the next step in their life and career, so the college and career readiness piece. So we needed to change up the department a little bit, and they also wanted us to add. So we had to change up a number of things in every department, both in an expansion as well as an increase of academic rigor in order to make these benchmarks that they put forth for the school.
I think the animosity, or as I like to say, I think the splitting of the vision came after my second year. I don't know why. There's a part of me that feels that the frustration grew on the part of the administration due to the fact that I was openly a wild stallion. I know the vocal program had tripled in numbers. I mean, the audition season was crazy to the point where I heard about 350 students compared to our first year, maybe 100. I will admit at that time I was a little more bullheadish. I didn't see what they saw because I saw the product. I saw the students that I was helping into college. I saw the families in which I was helping to serve. I was bewildered. I didn't understand. I was so hungry to be as best as I could at my job that appeasing others never ever came to my mind. It doesn't make sense to me. But now, if you will, and I must say, I would not take anything from my journey. I don't have any regrets. It's painful, very painful. But if I didn't have the love of the children, I could have easily committed suicide, because everything in my life was in that building. I left everything on the floor there. I didn't take anything except myself. I didn't take any music. I didn't take the piano. I didn't take anything, and so I didn't understand. But I knew that if I didn't have the support of the students and children and parents, I would have found a moving vehicle, because, I didn't just leave to go to another school. And so, one doesn't understand it, because I said to myself, well, what all did I do wrong with, if you will, the artifacts of positive? Yes.
Kiezai?
Kiezai. Li. Kiezai dai.
Being the director of the arts, I have to keep a more global view. So in thinking about, so the music people, this being him applying for a position in the music department, the music people were being very specific about whether or not he had the qualifications to fit within the music department. In my questioning of him during interviews, I felt that having the background that he has, having worked at an art school, being an artist himself, specifically working with young people in choral work, which is exactly what we were looking for, I felt as far as the culture and climate of the school that he would fit in. I was I'll be honest, I was very excited to find an African American male to teach. It seems they're very hard to find.
Always been into music. I've been singing since I was 7 years old. I love music, but I didn't really think, I'll be a music teacher until I got to high school. Definitely Mr. Williams, seeing how he handled us, I think that made me push towards being a music teacher even more. I mean, I've thought about it, but I definitely think him taking us to different places to sing and perform and speaking with us, I definitely feel like that pushed it in my mind even more.
Yes, like basically I'm in school for music and I want to be a music teacher. I never thought that I would want to be a music teacher, but education is definitely where I want to go, and if I'm going anywhere, it's going to the music room, just like Mr. Williams.
So I'm a singer-songwriter. I decided to take my artistry serious in 2012. I released my first ever EP entitled Arrival in October 2013, and I performed many different places. I'm actually a student right now in my senior year at Brooklyn College. I major in television radio, and yeah, I feel as though if I didn't have Williams as my teacher in high school, I do not feel like I would be in the same exact spot that I am right now. And it's so interesting because, like I said, when I graduated, I didn't even want to sing. I feel as though he challenged me to the point that my voice grew. And I feel like if I was not challenged, I wouldn't have the voice that I have right now, because I would have probably stayed in the same place that I was the beginning of my high school career. So I definitely feel like having him as a teacher set the foundation for me in my music. Even thinking about it, it was one point in time when I was so upset with Williams. I felt like we didn't have the best relationship, and I felt like the underdog in a sense. But not too long ago, he actually inboxed me on Facebook, and he was like, "Malika, I don't know if I ever told you, but to me, you had one of the smoothest voices in the alto section, and I always wanted you to sing out, and I don't know if I ever told you." And it meant a lot to me because I always felt like me and him always were at war, and just knowing that I was appreciated just more than how I thought I was back then, it meant a lot to me.
Please charge my mind and not my heart. It was a blessing and a burden to serve all of you because you all were magic. You allowed me space and gave me permission to lead you, and you held me to standards in which I realized I held you to. And you must know I did my very best, even when I didn't know it existed. My last year at the school was probably the hardest year of my life so far, because in the face of adversity, in the face of tension, I had to still smile, I had to still be there for you. I think everyone that worked with me and served under me can admit to the fact that it doesn't hurt to do good. It doesn't hurt to get positive attention. Also, I think every child and student and parent and teacher can also admit to the fact that, we could do something. We did something that may not have ever been read about. Some people may never know about us, but we experienced the making of music, but we experienced the consummation of real love. Because of each of you, I'm here. The idea of leaving the earth, the idea of stopping teaching, the idea has come across my mind, but I always have an example. If it's Elijah, if it's Jamal, if it's Ariel, if it's Erica, if it's Bria, if it's Deasia, if it's Shannon, there's always someone who comes across my heart to say, nah, you can do this, And so I'm completing my administrator's certificate for the state of New York. And, I'm allowing the universe, and I'm allowing God to show me if in fact I need to go ahead and start my own school, or allow myself to travel throughout the annals of education into administration. So thank you.
One, two, three.
Oh Lord, please hear my prayer. In the morning, when
say.